How to convert vintage speakers into high-end speakers with minimal investments. Achieving high-end solution on a reasonable budget of €1,000 for a pair of speakers is indeed challenging, even when purchasing a second-hand equipment. However, there is a solution. You can find high-quality vintage speakers from 80s and 90s with good bass woofer and upgrade the midrange and tweeter to modern ones. This upgrade targets the best possible dynamic range, also known as a detail, and linearity. I managed to purchase excellent quality midrange and tweeter for €100, new in a shop, which means you need €200 for two of them. Next, you need a good legacy speaker to modernize. I estimate that for €500 you can find a suitable candidate using local advertisement portals under the audio section. Additional investments should be considered for crossover modernization, and I recommend securing at least €200 for that. The best alternative is 6-channel active crossover system, which provides the best and simplest solution, making drivers independent. However, the cost of the active crossover system do not fall within speaker budget. Those costs fall under the amplifier budget. It would be around €1,600, which in my opinion is reasonable for a good amplification solution. And now practical example bringing vintage speakers back to the life. Today I will share a practical example of how to convert vintage speakers into the high-end speakers. The legacy speakers I choose were produced in 1984 in the Czech Republic by Tesla. I have a personal history with these speakers. During my university years I had an internship in state television, where a large recording studio renovation took place, and these speakers were said to be scrapped. I asked my boss if I could take them, and he kindly agreed. The tweeter were damaged, so I fixed them, and these speakers served me well for many years. I got married, had my first child, and lived with my beloved wife in a small apartment. As our second child was on the way, we listened to high-quality music, and we were happy despite of the challenges. Time has changed, I'm from Baltic countries, and we gained independence. I advanced in my career working for renowned global companies like Microsoft, Samsung Electronics, and later in electronic manufacturing services companies. We moved to the better and larger apartments, and during this busy period of my life, I sold all my music equipment except these speakers. And I have an emotional bond with them, and now it's time to give them the second life. And today I'm going to give a second life to that speaker. I will use that concept that I explain in my videos, and I will make this speaker completely passive. There will not be even a crossover in it. I put all outputs out of the speaker, and then I connect with the 6 amplifiers and active crossover in a front of that. And let's see, could I make very good speaker? Some specifics of this speaker is that it is a closed box, relatively large but closed box. And there is a 12-inch, nice 12-inch speaker, 4-inch mid-range, and there were 16 ohms tweeter, what I replaced with a 8 ohms tweeter, did some adjustments. If we compare speakers designed or developed or produced in 1994 and modern, that key difference is in mid-range and the tweeter. Because today we have super precise CNC machines, CNC latte machines. We have very precise and high temperature sustainable enameled wires above 200 degrees and even more. Then we have number of specific sandwich type of materials that also work very well with the speakers. And then even for for $50, for $100 you can buy very good speaker. And I also choose some speakers. A tweeter, I was choosing, let's see, could you see this SB Acoustics tweeter. So it is well packaged, and it's something against humidity. And here is Nice small tweeter. Of course I need adapter, it will go there. For midrange I choose Monocore MSH 116 for midrange, and this, let's look them closer, has some specifics why I choose it. Here it is. It is German manufactured mid-range speaker, and Germans are kind of precise. They even gave some sealing stuff. But what is specific with this this speaker? It has very thin material baffle, and you don't need a recession. This allows me more flexibilities to adapt to that square type of mid-range speaker, which is really difficult to find. Also, it is built as a mid-range speaker. That resonance frequency is about 100 Hz, and lowest recommended crossing point for a 12 decibel crossover is 300 Hz. I'm going to use 24 decibel crossover, so I can play with this crossing point, but generally I'm going to cross it somewhere about 450 or 650. It depends how that woofer will work, but seems I will cross it lower, because this is a new one and this is an old one. I need an adapter, and here is my adapter. Here I put a speaker, and those will go for those holes. I made it from the dual 2mm aluminium, as it's 4mm aluminium, and I glue it together to avoid the vibrations. And this seems a good solution for me. So those will go like that, and then I have adapter. And for the tweeter I have another adapter, wooden. It will take place here, and tweeter will go like that. Not like that, it will go like that. Yes, and then tweeter will be here, and I will secure it with the wooden screws. So, pretty small modifications. No, practically always you need some adapters, because then you have more flexibility for modern speakers, and you can choose those which are produced in high volumes and has a good quality. Okay, this was kind of emotional introduction, and let's disassemble that speaker to modify. Yeah, I did it in 1997. Let's check, does it fit? Yeah, excellent, excellent. Then I will put some silicone beneath and secure it, and it will be non-removable in the future. At least this is the plan. Now let's open a mid-range. And here is a plastic box for a mid-range. It is still mid-range, box is not very big, also sealed. I'm gonna use it, the same box, and let's remove speakers. They are plastic screws. Those speakers are made in Czech Republic. It's a famous company, Tesla. I think it exists even today. And this company was primary high-tech equipment, music equipment manufacturer for ex-Soviet Union. This is a strange speaker. I haven't seen. It's very stiff, and even if you move from the one side, it's immediately you can feel that it's not at center. So it's meant for a small movement, underhung coil. And what was the problem with that speaker? That it has high efficiency, but not very good frequency response. Comparing to modern speakers, it was, I would say, very bad. For those times, more or less okay. Now it's hard to imagine where you can use it. Modern speakers are by far better. So, useless, goes to the garbage. So, now my favorite, large speaker. And now I should somehow get it out with a minimum damage. Oh, it comes easy. Unexpected. Yeah, you can see not very good sealing. And what can we see? Tesla, thick stamped gasket, 8 ohms, 30 watt speaker, should be pretty efficient, 8 watt peaks, not very powerful, but I'm pretty sure that this speaker will work well with a high sensitivity. Actually, it's decent, really decent build, very good speaker. And we need this speaker for our project, because box is built for this speaker. We will remove sealant, because anyway we should replace it. Some dumping material, not too much. Even 2 of them. Let's check what is inside. Relatively big and complicated crossover. Let's remove and look a bit closer to the crossover. Okay, here we have a crossover. This transformer type big drossel with a, I know, probably permalloy core or metal core, who knows. It is filter for a woofer, and for a woofer they have electrolytic capacitor, but for woofer it is okay. But for mid-range and the tweeter, everything is done by the book. Those are good film capacitors. Those are even today good capacitors. And one thing, what you can see, and I think it's relatively difficult to make it, there is no resistors. And probably this speaker has been driven pretty well. It's very hard to design such type of crossover without resistors. You need specific, really precise drivers, and that means significant R&D has been put in this driver that you can drive it without dumping resistors. Actually, difficult to make it. Overall build quality is good. Some things what I don't understand is how they secured those big coils, because they are moving, and especially the high pressure, those continuously moving inside, I think. But otherwise, I'm impressed. It's a good crossover, classical good crossover. No shortcuts, no cheap elements. Even that this is film capacitor, and this film capacitor for a tweeter is bypassed by by smaller capacitors which are giving you better response. Actually, from those components I can make another crossover, I think, and not a bad one. Now those components are expensive. I will keep it in my stock for some future project. Let's look inside the box, and you can see no brackets. And someone may say that this is a bad design, but it's not that bad. If you put in an untreated room, it's even not important, those small resonances. And the biggest resonance, what happens here in the backside, it has a double thickness. And normally it's 20 millimeters. And of course, when it's sealed, it pumps high pressure in it. And definitely you will get that the box will extend for some part. But I'm pretty sure that it will not be audible. It will not be audible. Otherwise, decently built box. You can see that everywhere you have recessions. It's well glued. Generally, for 80s, very good. But we will listen afterwards, and I will say, is it good or not? At that moment, it's not possible to say. Now I will do some cleanup, all that old stuff, and put adapters in it, and then we proceed with interconnection. Okay, now I did some boring stuff. I soldered wires. I attached adapter plate. Also, I did the same for a tweeter, and also I secured the adapter plate here. Those are boring stuff. It went pretty smooth and fast. Also, I put some hermetic compound behind that they are well sealed. And the assembling we will do, I will start with a tweeter. Yeah, and here is the wires. And those who think that those wires should be finger thick, those are 0.5 square millimeter wires, and like I assured that I measured, it's 0.025, and also we should count some measurement errors because those so small values. You don't need a finger thick wires here inside a speaker cabinet. And sometimes I see there are guys who are modernizing internal crossover and putting the finger thick wires. It's nonsense. Yeah, this is 100 watt capable max. And in reality it works in a 2-3 watts. And also for active speaker system, what we are building, they have perfectly flat impedance, perfectly flat. I think maybe 1 ohm difference between full working bandwidth. No, it's fine with a, I would say 0.3 millimeter wire. It's fine. Yeah, you will never hear it. So I will use 4 wooden screws, yeah. But I will do it manually without any electric screwdriver, because we should really sense the force what we are applying. And first I will put the screws in, and then I tighten based on a feeling. That sealing rubber fits very well here. It will be very well sealed with this window sealant. Let's place it on the right position. So I need a little bit support to move it in a precise location. And I will use the same screws that I had before, original from 80s. I don't have such type of screws in stock. 4 millimeters, not usual diameter for my projects. I should rely on supplies what comes with that speaker box. Good. It is very well sealed. Very well sealed. And before we put the mid-range in, I have that my great connector, and we'll put all contacts here, and then from the opposite side I made adapter. I will pick it and secure with the screws here. I marked wires. You can see 2 is a mids, 1 is a high, and the woofer has a thicker wire, 1 square millimeter flexible wire. And third one, contact 3, is a woofer. Okay, now I recognize that I made one mistake and I should fix it. I forget to put dumping material inside for a woofer. I put only one part, and there are 2 parts. Not a big deal. I will open it and fix it. You can see there should be another one. Can I over tighten? No way. This is so massive construction that by handheld screwdriver you can't do it. So 90% of modification is done, and now I need just to put a connector on the backside. Okay, now let's evaluate results. Generally pretty okay. I even decided to not paint that aluminium adapter. How about backside? Yeah, nice. All around. It's time to test. Okay, now let's do some measurements. Now what do I have? I have a measurement microphone. It's a budget measurement microphone and costs about 60 euros. Then of course I have all my system set in front of me that is easy to manage. And then I have a sound card and AKG Studio headphones, and those AKG Studio headphones will be used to really check that all measurements corresponds to the sound equal to that sound what I can get using AKG closet headphones and insulating myself from the room. And what else I have? I have a room. It is treated for a voiceover, synth-upon pillows, and the room is treated to reduce echo when I'm doing voiceover. This room is used also for that. How does it look from the distance? Our speakers, you can see, pretty okay. Confident speakers, they are placed on the stand on optimum height, and I will be listening them after I do some measurements. Here is the software, and if you have a measurement microphone and external sound card, you can do all those measurements by themselves. This software is for free, unless you want to put one record on another and start to do the more complicated measurements, but basic measurements you can do it here. I will do impulse response measurement, and my room is relatively small, somewhere from 300 and up. I will have trustable results. So let's do some measurement. You can use defaults. It's pretty good settings for you if you don't want to drill down in the theory. Okay, and what we got. Yeah, no, somewhere from here. You can see the sensitivity is about, it's not bad, and if you put a line in between, then we are plus minus 2 decibels in a worst case scenario, even less. And I find out that best crossover point is at 2 kilohertz. And let's check what if we cross it higher, what happens. Another measurement. What we got. And you can see then between 2 and 5 kilohertz there is a small dip for about 1 decibel more, and the best crossing point is at 2 kilohertz. I have 1-inch tweeter, and in all aspects that tweeter will do better at 2 kilohertz than classical midrange. Even 4-inch midrange will do so due to the size of diaphragm and the mass of diaphragm. Will this part be audible? No. I try to listen in all possible aspects and turn crossing points and try to find out even the tiniest coloration. I was not able to hear. That means this 1 decibel in non-treated room doesn't play any role at all. So somehow in measurements we can show this drop, but in reality it's almost perfect. And let's check once more when I'm crossing at 2 kilohertz. Yeah, it's better. Is it much better? No, it's so better. Actually, I can't hear a difference. Yeah, we can measure difference, but I can't hear a difference. That means this is good result. This is good result. Of course, I can't due to the small room. I have I think 4 by 7 meters room, and walls are closed and ceilings are closed, so only from somewhere for 300 even. I think this is a room impact as well, because from 400 probably I am able to measure it in a good way, a trustable way. If I would have a larger room, I can do the trustable measurements with pulse response from about 200 Hertz. But anyway, this is very good result, and afterwards I will play a little bit with the settings of the gain, not about the crossover points, and then make it maximum neutral, having all room responses also included. And one more thing to check, our speakers are time aligned, and we can see it on a step response. Here is a step response, and the first one, that's a tweeter, that's a midrange, and that's a woofer. Each of them has a pretty good step response, and you can see those are not time aligned. Due to the difference in a mass and acoustic center, they are delayed. Is it problem for our listening? No, our hearing is blending everything which is below 25 milliseconds, and you can see that this is within, roughly saying within 2 milliseconds. We will hear it as a one signal. Practically all speakers which has a passive crossover has the same pattern, that those are not time aligned, and they do, sometimes people do tricky things like tilting speakers and doing other one. When you tilt the speakers, then you can get a tweeter and the mid-range practically on place. But if you have a digital crossover, you can do the time alignment, and then it's a big discussion, should you do it or not. You will get a better step response, of course, but will you hear it? I guess not. At least from listening point of view, not. And I think there are 2 requirements what you can set for your system. First, if you're working with non-treated room, all those things doesn't matter. You will have a number of reflections from ceilings, from walls, from floor, from everywhere, which will add on. You can make a perfect step response, but afterwards in a room you will get a lot of stuff additionally. If you have studio level treated room, then you can start to work on all those things, and maybe you hear it. I'm not such a caliber of specialist. I can't say will you hear it or not. But those measurements are used a lot in the marketing. So normally you don't hear it, but they show you some super small thing and say this is a bad one, this is so bad speaker. Nevertheless, the speaker practically sounds equal, and in the modern marketing world, so many things are used for the marketing, what really doesn't influence the sound. And one more thing to check, is your box good or not? And here is a burst decay. And if I really understand correctly what this measurement should show, it should show does box has some specific resonances in it. And once all those resonances are equally spread and there is no very high energy resonances, that means the box is good, also feeling is good. Of course, this box has some resonances what works, but in my case it works like additional musicality. Yeah, so small things and this interaction with the box, and also when I listen to music, it sounds so pleasant, so musical. If you overdump a box or make it extreme rigid and then you put a lot of polyfill in it, and it's become dull. And my personal conclusion is everything is okay. And the only thing what you should do, you should listen to music now. Because you have a almost excellent linearity of amplitude characteristics. You don't have a specific resonances from the speakers. Original woofer is good, and this was first time when I have heard that woofer. And when I checked also with the headphones, with the tiny adjustments, I can get practically identical signal. That means almost no coloration. Almost no coloration. This was first time when I am dealing with a closed box, and with a 12-inch woofer you get a significant bass, but it is different than ported ones. From the first impression seems that ported ones has a better bass, not kind of deeper or more bass. But when you start to listen music, then this 12-inch box blending with the music, that you can really hear all music, and there is no insufficient bass. When you have some boom tick tick type of music, the boom is large and precise. I also tested down to 20 Hertz, and sealed boxes are capable to go down to 20 Hertz, and I can reproduce 20 Hertz with a subjective feeling that is 3 times lower than 40 Hertz. And when you really want to listen to music, those speakers are amazing, and you are not getting tired to listening them. There is something good with that. And my guess is that those speakers has relatively low nonlinear distortions also from the speaker side. Overall, if I want to buy such quality, I'm not sure I can buy it for $2,000 per speaker. That means investing $4,000, maybe I get the same quality, at least subjective feeling. They may measure a little bit better, but this is absolutely perfect and optimum setup. Yeah, those speakers are bulky, those are large and large front baffle, but somehow they measure good, they sound good, and those are easy to listen. So, and finalizing, everybody would ask, how good is those speakers? And I can say those are extremely good. And what is the difference between an ordinary speaker and very good speaker? And this is in dynamic range. It's also named as a microdynamics, or capability to produce Small sound and large sound is in the same time. And here I took one example. Here's a story about a sauna. Yeah, this lady is telling that story, and it's done by BBC. And BBC is a super professional company with a large budgets, and everything what they do are in a good quality. All stories, and this audio mix is absolutely great. They are mixing for ordinary people, for ordinary headphones, and for ordinary speakers, which doesn't have those super good microdynamics. But how can you recognize that your speaker is extremely good? And here on that mix I put on my speakers, which has very good microdynamics. And what happens? I got a feeling that background music is a little bit too loud to the speech. I can hear everything, but this background part is so well presented. And normal speakers are not able to do that. Only the highest grade speakers and the horn-loaded speakers are able to do that. In that case, that means that MSH 116 loudspeaker is very good and driven directly by amplifier without crossover. It has excellent microdynamics. I got a feeling that background music is a bit too loud. When you listen some orchestra, there is a mix of musics, and you will hear all the tiny details behind the singer. And this is extremely good speaker in that way. And I also recommend to test it. Even this story is a Finnish way to enjoy sauna, and you can test your speakers. Are they perfectly balanced, or background music is a little bit too loud, this background all setup. And then you can understand you have average dynamic range or you have advanced. And this advanced dynamic range is really difficult to achieve. You should do crazy things to have it. And this is a major difference between 9,000 speakers and 2,000 speakers. But you can achieve it just by modifying vintage speaker with a low budget. And also one important conclusion is that when you are driving speakers directly with the 6 amplifiers, 3-way speakers, they are not just a little bit better, they by far better than any passive crossover speakers. And this comes from the real test. This speaker is awesome, really. So good details. And you can test it by yourself. Now what next? I will enjoy listening those speakers for about a week. I will listen all my music, what I really like, because they sound awesome. And what then? Then it's hard to say. I will be glad to sell it, but normally it is very difficult to sell. Everyone who looks at it costs just a few bucks. It's not a few bucks speaker. It's extreme speaker. Probably one of the best what I have heard. And modifications are so simple.